voting rights is with the Young Democrats. Thank you so much.
Go Reed! Sorry.
We vote for freedom. Woo! The freedom to go to school. The freedom to worship.
Woo!
The freedom to love.
Woo!
The freedom to choose.
Woo!
The freedom to vote.
Yeah!
I'm a high school student at Single Mountain Middle High School, and I turned 18 this year.
Yeah!
I haven't had the opportunity to vote yet.
Yeah.
I stand up here today to talk about voting rights, so that when it is my turn, I am still allowed to vote. And so that other people who don't check the same boxes I do are still allowed to vote. The only way Trump and Musk win is when we don't vote.
100!
Y'all may have heard a certain famous lady say last fall, when we vote, we win! Say it with me, folks. When we vote, we win! When we vote, we win! Look, I know talking about voting rights can be boring because it comes with a lot of numbers and statistics. But this matters. Donald Trump and his MAGA cult are insistent on taking our government down a path akin to Mussolini's Italy, Putin's Russia, and Hitler's Germany. The rest of the world sees it. The rest of the country sees it. And yet, people persist. They defend him. Donald Trump isn't a fascist. That's extremist rhetoric. No! By every definition of the word, Donald Trump is a fascist. History teaches us what fascism looks like. History teaches us what fascism does. You know it. I know it. They know it. We must continue to fight back. The media wants us to think we are alone. We are not alone. Look around you today. You are not alone. People across the United States are fighting back. People across the world are fighting back. Protesters take to the streets in France, in Germany, in the Netherlands, in Serbia, in Georgia, in Argentina, to fight back against their fascist parties. We stand united around the world. We must keep fighting on every front. Fighting to protect the right to choose. Fighting to protect the right to love. Fighting to protect the right to vote. The MAGA party is dedicated to discouraging voters and outright removing people's voting rights. In Tennessee, Republicans continue to block voting rights for people with felony convictions, tying voting rights to the restoration of firearm rights, which are permanently barred for people with felony convictions. Tennessee leads the nation in voter disenfranchisement, with over 480,000 people barred from voting. 480,000 people barred from voting because of a felony conviction. This is illegal. This is unconstitutional. This is undemocratic. And we must fight back.
Yes!
Donald Trump's latest executive order mandates proof of citizenship to vote. But we already have to prove our citizenship to vote. And this latest infringement on voting rights will hurt female and low-income voters. Obstacles to obtaining a real ID, such as having changed your name, which so many women have done. Obstacles like having to pay for a real ID disenfranchise low-income voters who can't afford it. This systematically prevents millions of Americans from voting. MAGA wants untrained, partisan election observers to protect our elections. Like the Proud Boys. They want the Proud Boys to protect our elections.
No! No! No!
This is intimidation.
Yes!
This is the strategy that the Nazis used in 1933 to take over Germany. Uniformed Nazi thugs intimidated voters, opponents, and journalists in order to secure their dictatorial rule over Germany. Listen, my grandmothers and my 93-year-old great-grandmothers don't need the same neo-Nazis that are marching through Nashville, breathing down their neck when they are only trying to vote.
Yes!
MAGA's reasoning for these changes is wrong. It is that we have systematic voter fraud across America. But that is not true. We do not, and the statistics show it.
Correct!
Bear with me here, because I know these statistics are boring, but they are important.
And they're facts.
The ultra-right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation, you know them as the authors of Project 2025. In their never-ending quest to prove our elections are stolen, has compiled a helpful list of the cases of voter fraud in every state. Looking just at Tennessee, we can see 5 instances of voter fraud in the major elections since 2012. When we actually look at the numbers, the chances of voter fraud are 1 in 3.3 million. Let that number sink in. 1 in 3.3 million Americans. The GOP wants you to think of this as an ant-elephant-sized problem. But it is not. It is an ant-sized problem. If voter fraud is so rare, then we have to ask ourselves why. Why are Republicans so insistent on making it harder to vote? Because the number of their voters continues to shrink.
Yes!
And like a true, power-hungry, authoritarian, fascist party, instead of bending to the will and the voice of the people, They choose power over the people.
Yep.
They choose control over the people.
Yes, they do.
They continue to work hard to exclude their opponents' voters. We can't and we won't let them. Chattanooga, the path to a better, freer world comes through voting. The only way to stop this alt-right assault on our voting rights is to vote. Don't let them win. Register, make a plan, and show up at the polls.
Yes!
If we want Donald Trump and the GOP to feel, really feel, the pain their policies cause, we must vote. And people, they are scared. Donald Trump pulled his nominee for UN ambassador because he was scared he would lose her seat in Congress.
Yep.
We must continue to apply the pressure, like we applied in Florida, where we may not have won, but we made swings of 20 points. 20 points from November. And look what we accomplished in Wisconsin on Tuesday, where Trump and Musk's backing was not enough to quell the overwhelming voice of the people.
Yes!
We must force Musk and Trump to get their hands off our voting rights. We must keep growing this momentum,
Yes!
not just in Wisconsin and Florida, but in New York, in Arizona, in Texas, and right here in Tennessee. We must keep growing this momentum through the midterms and into the next presidential race. But it all comes down to one tiny and yet so incredibly important thing. If we want to protect voting rights, protect freedom, protect democracy, we must vote. Make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure your friends are registered to vote.
Yes!
Share registration tools on your social media. Be aware of when an election is. Make a plan to vote. Make sure your friends have a plan to vote. And then execute it. Go to the polls. Cast your ballot, not the ballot of the neo-Nazi breathing down your neck. Don't let them intimidate you. Chattanooga, let's make voting great again. Because what do we say? When we vote, we win. When we vote, we win.
When we vote,
We win. When we vote, we win. Here's a round of applause. We are the ones who make change.
Get it, Reed.
So in light of that, we have our runoff election.